And I think there's a snobbishness with reading books. They are a bit outdated. They're a little bit like playing the spoons and tap dancing and the theatre. They were good once, but things have moved on.
The head's not quite on the right place. That's his little issue that he's got to work on for the moment.
My apartment smells of rich mahogany.
Look, I'm all for innovation, and I advocated putting a scrum half in the line out. It sounds great, but it's bollocks idea, really.
Hello, and welcome to Under the Sticks, the podcast that is, to some of the commenters, always late. We are here, Roger Jenkins, we are here, Sean O'Farrell, we're here, and we are a podcast brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby, where we attempt to deliver half-baked opinions served up as actual authoritative rugby analysis. My name's Andy McGeady, and tonight, from my little grotto, I'm joined by Paul Williams. How are you?
You mean the new Sharks supporting Paul Williams? Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Wearing my newly adopted South African jersey, which they very kindly sent me this week. Yeah, I'm really good. How are you, man? You all right?
I'm pretty good. The Sharks obviously have a sense of kamikaze about them for wanting you to be their adopted fan. We know how this goes.
First week they sent it to me. First game they've played, they lost by 40.
Yeah.
So that's how it goes. You roll the dice with the Williams lottery.
It is. Sean Holley, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, boys. Great to be on. As usual. We've done a few different days, haven't we, the last couple of weeks? Done a Thursday, done a Tuesday now. But it's all the same to me. I look forward to it. I look forward to the interaction with some of our regulars. And had a good weekend. Enjoyed the TV. Great game. Dragons Ospreys. I did with Shane Williams on Sunday. But I enjoyed all the games. You know, what a weekend. You know, you look at the points scored. I think it was 54 tries scored. Unbelievable stuff, you know, and good games, good high quality. So, I loved it.
It was good. What do we touch on? Tonight we'll be touching on the Coach of the Month for April and May. We'll get to that because we know that the voting, we know who the nominees are. So we'll run through that. We'll be talking about the round 4 through 6 fixtures for the Rainbow Cup. We'll run through that later on. We'll talk about the games that we had this past weekend. Plenty of action. We're going to do a lot of highlights tonight, more than we usually do. So strap yourselves in, folks. But we'll kick off. Gents, we have a North-South final.
Yes.
Amazing.
We have some of the news, not all of the news, but what is definitely confirmed is that we have definitely a North versus South final. So the Guinness Pro 14 Rainbow Cup, you've got the northern section, you've got the southern section, and the winner of both pools, for want of a better term, will compete in the Rainbow Cup final. We are expecting to hear the confirmation of the venue on Friday. It will be European. I'm looking forward to this, an actual real North versus South rugby game, Paul. This is what we were looking forward to.
It's epic, isn't it? It really is good news. It brings everything together now because, you know, everyone was disappointed when we thought they wouldn't be able to play each other. But just having the final, it's brilliant. That's all I needed. One team from here playing one team from there. Epic. Can't wait.
Us most of all, actually. We kind of we've been chatting about this for a while, folks, because you know, after each show, we might sort of sit down with a drink for a little while afterwards and just shoot the breeze and whatever. And like, we were genuinely excited. And when COVID said, okay, we can't have the North versus South element, you kind of go, okay, well, it's just one of those things because it's one of those years. But I'm really glad that we do look forward to one game at least.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's so exciting as well. Just watching the South African games on the weekend, it feels really exotic. I know that's a stupid thing to say, but it just does because it isn't. It just feels unusual. And then to be able to play them in the final, I can't wait. It's really cool.
This is the time, though, looking at some of those South African games where we still don't know, don't we? We still don't know. So this is the time where we just cast aside all our individual team allegiances, and whoever gets to the final, we get behind that northern team because we need a show. We we don't know at the moment. We just look at that rugby and we think, oh, they're fast, they're physical, they're quick, they're fit. They're playing on good surfaces in nice weather generally. But I like what I'm seeing from the northern sides at the moment because they're playing rugby. It's a new competition. But what we still don't know, do we? What is it going to be? Let's say Benetton get to the final.
Yeah.
If they got to the Guinness Pro 14 final, they wouldn't be favourites. However, if Connacht did, if Ospreys did, if the Blues did, if Leinster or Munster or Ulster did, well, Ulster won't know, but it's an unknown, and I'm not nervous. I'm not saying I'm nervous. I just want to know because it's the showcase for next year, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Do you know what, though? I'll tell you this. You've got to turn up with the scrum regardless. Right? So it doesn't matter which of the South African teams make it. You've got to show up with the scrum because it's a different level down there, the scrummaging. It really is. It's in all of the games on the weekend, both sides were. It means something down there. It's like putting in golf. It's a game within a game.
It is. We've got plenty in this evening. Michael Jenkins, hello from Pembrokeshire, West Wales, UK, as always. Annette Holm from Randers, Denmark. That's our first person from Denmark. Excellent. Jared YNWA, Benetton versus Bulls final. Yeah, we could. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. Yeah. Do you know what? Let's get into rugby fairly quickly. By the way, excuse the background if you're looking. It looks a bit menacing. It's because I'm not in my usual house. I got to travel. We traveled west to Connemara, and it feels like I'm on another planet because I haven't seen much outside my own street and the shops around me for a long time. It's great. Love it. Right. We had lots of games. We had lots of games to get through. We're going to show a lot of highlights tonight and a couple of other incidents which did attract some attention. We'll start with Friday. Connacht went to Thomond Park, and for me, one of the big clips in this game is at the very end when Connacht know they've won it, and they are, man, it's just great to watch. Thrilled. It's a great win. They've now won. They've beaten Ulster, Leinster, and Munster this season. That is not bad.
Well, when we had Andy Friend on, we were sort of bestowing the virtues of his coaching. You could see why the spirit in the Connacht team counts for a lot. These are good sides they beat in. It's not like they play Munster seconds or anything. I think CJ Stander carried a ridiculous amount of times at an average about 1 meter. But this is what they do. When they smell blood, they take their chance and they go at it. They're not the Connacht of old. They're serious now, serious players. It's great to see.
I'd say Sammy Arnold enjoyed that one now. Go to the place that lets you go. That's a really nice way to score.
Do you know what really impressed me as well is how sharp they were on the ground? Like as soon as the ball was an inch out at the back of the breakdown, bang, they were straight on it. They took so many risks. It was fantastic. And I thought John Porch was great. I think he's quite underrated at fullback. He sort of slips in between defense and attack with that counter-attack seamlessly. It was a magnificent... I don't think it is that surprising, weirdly. If you've beaten, the other two, there's no reason why you wouldn't beat Munster. So it's... and I know it's away and I know it's in Munster and it's a bigger deal. But they play, other than Leinster, they play the all-court rugby in Ireland, don't they? They've got a bit of everything, really mobile pack. Fantastic. They drip in with centres. Wotton's playing really well. I love watching them. They're one of my favourite teams to watch this season.
Yeah, they're not a team you want to play at the moment.
No,
home or away, they're really dangerous. I mean, we talked about them early in the season up in Edinburgh. We were like, wow. Then they went to Leinster and won. And, crikey, the Scarlets in the first half, I was commentating. I was like, what is going on here? I mean, the Scarlets came back. And that's the only worry is the frailty that they potentially have. Can they sustain it and be, as consistent? Because as I say, look at that Munster team. They had a big bench as well, Munster, to bring on.
Yeah.
and to weather that storm. And a lot of it is born out of attitude. Look how they're coming up and hounding them. That kickoff try is another one. Look at this. They
like it's 4 in chase.
Yeah, and they get the bounce, but Marmion's attitude when he puts it down, it's not really a late challenge from Ben Healy, but he gives it a bit.
Yeah, that was an odd one, because in fairness, the first stage of it was brilliant when you see that they're galloping up, and yes, you get the look of the bounce, but you know what makes it not look? Because you're there and you fought to be up there in the first place. But it was an odd reaction to the Healy one, because if you saw some of the stuff from Rugby League over the last few weeks, this is nothing. Like that was.
I just think they wound up for the game, and I think they're just so highly energized. Because don't forget, teams that had lost one last weekend were staring at a 1-2 record and seemingly out of it.
Yeah.
All right. It's not the case. But it's a long way back then,
It is.
particularly if you've got a difficult away fixture coming up. So they needed to win that.
Yeah, and Joe, such a good point you make. Sorry, Andy, such a good point you make there, though, about that lucky bounce. If you've got one player chasing and it bounces in his arms, then it's lucky. But if you've got 4 or 5 players chasing, that's 4 or 5 players chasing a ball. It's not luck, then, is it? So it's
100%.
Great.
So
point.
DVB Van. I'm going to go for this, folks, right? I'm going to commit. DVB Van Richvik, and you can tell me if I've butchered it or not. I'm sure I have, right?
I think you may have.
Says, that's a lot of tennis rackets for a rugby talk show, isn't it? This is, for those listening, this is directly behind Paul Williams. Paul, what room in your large and lavish mansion?
So this isn't wallpaper. I play a lot of tennis, and I collect vintage tennis rackets from the 80s and 90s, and I do a bit of tennis stringing. So I just thought it was more interesting in my kitchen. So here we are.
There we go. DVB, you are now up to speed. Going back to the very end of the Munster Connacht game, I want to bring up something to just tease something we'll get to later on. There was a magic 8-ball captain's challenge at the end of that game, because there was a Munster knock on. So there's a Munster knock on right at the end of the game, about 10 yards off the Connacht line, and Munster tried a challenge. The referee says, "Oh, your captain can challenge." They say, "Here's our captain, we challenge," and they said it's not a knock on. Now, very importantly, they challenged that. They were able to challenge because it was a whistled decision at the end of the game. They didn't get it, but hold that thought, and we'll get to something very related in a while. Right, that was good. It was nice and tight. There were some comments about the referee. We're not going to go into that, but referee is the same for both teams on the day, no matter what certain players might have felt after the game. Leinster, Ulster, 21-17 to Leinster. We won't show the highlights for this, but the one clip that was doing the rounds, there was
doing the round.
Okay, I was pumping it out.
Okay, I was pumping it out. Very good.
It's Robbie Henshaw and Robert Ballacoon. Ulster fans were not happy. Ulster players were not happy with this one. But it's still worth touching on this one because it's a really interesting incident. So Robbie Henshaw, he went, it was not actually high. Oh, we have it. We have this incident. So yeah, Ian Henderson, Ulster captain, says didn't like that challenge. Okay, so we're going to play it for you now.
Oh, it's
Henshaw comes in. You see Ballacoon's head coming back, and from that angle right there, you think Robbie Henshaw is in red card trouble. But when they slowed it down and looked at the side angles, there's no actual head, there's no contact from Henshaw to Ballacoon's head. And that's what the referee and the officials went with today. That was their determinant.
Really?
Now, there have been other people who said...
Well, that
go on.
whiplash effect of Ballacoon would lead
I mean,
you to believe that
really?
there was contact ahead. I'm not.
Are you saying that's not a sanction?
I'm not sure.
What are we trying to achieve here? In terms of you're talking millimeters. Look at the whiplash on the pair of them. Just because there isn't direct contact, it doesn't mean that isn't dangerous. Look, he's never dropped his height. Look at Balakoon, it's
There's no direct
whiplash.
head-to-head.
That's a
And I-
potential concussive
Do you
episode.
need to see anything further?
Oh, it was, and Henshaw had to go out for a HIA himself. And again, that's what a lot of these, what all of the drop in tackle height incentives are being built in is actually to protect more the tackler than the person getting tackled.
His head makes contact with the white
It-
shoulder.
yeah.
So for me,
I'm a
there's no
massive
contact
Robbie
by
Henshaw
the blue
fan.
player to the
He was
head.
great in the
Yeah,
game. I
okay,
named
so
him in my team of
there's
the
no-
week. I nearly
so we're saying
omitted
there's
him
no
because
clear
of that,
foul
but
play.
you know,
This is the last one
sorry,
now,
they've
Mike.
got this wrong. If we got our kid,
So I've
what
got
do I
clear
tell
wrap,
my teenage
I'm not
boys
seeing any
about rugby? Are you okay to
clear
tackle like that? We're
contact
trying to change
from
behaviour.
the blue shoulder
So
and
I'd
the red
say-
head. We've seen this.
At the end of this, Ian Henderson is unhappy, and he's saying, "Look, it cannot
So
be
I've got clear
nothing."
wrap.
And I think, and just listen to the ref for a second because he's actually explaining this.
I'm not seeing any clear contact from
Gee,
the blue
I
shoulder
mean,
and the red head. We've
I'm
seen the same
going to
thing.
try and calm down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we,
Yeah, the right shoulder of blue makes contact with the upper chest,
yeah.
and the blue player's head hits the white player's shoulder. So there's no
Yeah.
head contact initiated by blue.
So we've got clear contact from, or we don't have any clear contact from the blue shoulder to the head of the alpha
If we
player.
don't,
Correct.
So there's
if
no
we
foul
don't
play,
sanction
we'll go back
that,
to the
no.
original penalty.
it's
I know.
going to happen.
Thank you.
The,
But
the
that's
thing
the
is,
problem.
like you
No.
say, the big thing is we're trying to stamp that out, which is one separate issue. But then, to use a tortuous natural history example, there's a snake called a milk snake, right? That looks exactly like the coral snake, which is the most dangerous snake in the world, but it isn't dangerous at all. And that was a milk snake tackle, basically. They looked deadly, but it wasn't. And it's a fine line, isn't it? Because he didn't touch his head. But like you say, you don't want to see that tackle again. I don't know what the answer is. That's why we're talking about it. Nobody does.
Here's the thing. Here's the thing for me. I don't think. Comment in. Do you not think coaches would be happy with that? I'm assuming that means. Do you not think coaches would be happy with their tackle? Well, it was a big tackle. It stopped the Ulsterman. But I'd say if I was the coach, I'd be saying, I'm saying 1 time in 20. 1 time in 20, Henshaw is lucky enough to somehow avoid direct contact with the
That's
head,
right. Yeah.
by going in that high and by not dipping. And that meant that there's a bad look for the officials as soon as there's any kind of, I mean, if you don't have as many cameras, right, he gets a red card.
Yeah.
Because it would not, every camera angle bar about 1, he's in trouble. Producer is saying if Henshaw does that against the box for the Lions, what happens? Do you know what I'd say happens? You get minimum penalty and no one bats an eyelid. So if a penalty had been given that on the day, no one bats an eyelid and everyone moves on.
But if it's a penalty, then it's got to be a card, isn't it?
Okay,
there's no mitigation, is there? So if they say that's a penalty, then it has to be something more as well.
Well, I'm saying that if that had been given a penalty live straight up by the officials and they said that was simply a high tackle, we didn't see a head contact, right?
Yeah.
Does anybody really get annoyed?
No, not at all.
That's my point, Dan. That's my point. You know, that's the problem with common sense. It's not very. There has to be an element of common sense there. By zero sanction, no penalty or yellow card or anything, you were saying that is okay behaviour.
Yeah.
The guy went
Brian
off for
Ellis,
a HIA.
Brian Ellis, letter of the law defines a high tackle as being above the shoulder level. Yeah,
I know that. I know the law, but you know, at the end of the day, just have a look at it. You know, come on. The fact he goes off for a HIA, the whiplash and Balakoon, you know, the tackle technique. I wouldn't be happy as a coach because my player has gone off for a HIA.
There was there's one thing we could do a lot of back and forth on this one, but there was a trial that they introduced a number of years ago in the Junior World Cup, the under-20s, where if you went in upright and it wasn't spotted during the game, you would get a warning after the game. I think it was called a high tackle technique warning or an upright tackle technique warning, something along those lines. And if you collected multiple in the tournament, you get a ban. And that kind of tackle, to me,
that's
if you want to actually learn from this, right, then you make it not nothing. Okay. Now, the referee can only go by the law book. And once the captain was challenging, they have to be specific. And I'd say what then they were looking for was very specific things, as opposed to, Sean, what you're saying is standing back and going, do I really want that in the field? No.
Yeah.
And work from there. But anyway, look, yeah, Richard O'Reilly, Henshaw went off for a HIA, not Balakoon. That's
So
absolutely
we
accurate.
said we know Henshaw went off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we did. We'll go to Scarlets next for highlights, which was the first game on Saturday, and it was an absolute squeaker, right?
Oh, the
Cardiff
Jared Evans
29.
show. This was.
Cardiff 29, Scarlets 28, Parky Scarlets. There was a lot went on in this game. We've even got some more clips after the highlights, which we will get to. But yeah, I'm from Ireland, so I probably can't comment on this game. Gents, over to you, Paul.
It was a great game. Like I said, it was the Jared Evans show for me. He was fantastic. His passing was sublime, throwing lovely little miss passes, beautiful tunnel passes through pods. And I know some people question whether his line kicking, his tactical kicking is good enough for test level, but some of the passes he was executing, I think you need that now at test level more than ever. I think the days of just being a kick in 10 alone, I think that's sort of gone in 2009. So I thought he was fantastic. It was a really entertaining game. Like Sean alluded to earlier, I think it's the best weekend of rugby as a mass that we've had all season. Like all of the games were very good. They weren't just 2 or 3 standouts. I really enjoyed it. This in particular.
It was. I agree. I really enjoyed this game. I'm not enjoying some of the defence at the moment. I'm not. It's it's tantamount to touch rugby. Some of the Welsh guys at the moment, but Dane Blacker there, he's had a good season. We got some good scrum halves, 2 tries for his support. Dan Jones came on and made a bit of a difference and put a lovely little kick through. Actually, lovely bit of skill. Scarlets when they play. And they play with confidence as William Slug, some Pepsi Cherry Max or something.
Raspberry.
When they play, boy. And I want to see this guy, Rogers, get his hands on the ball a little bit more. And unfortunately, he's hit a Scarlets team that aren't in great form. However, they have big patches in games. They just let in soft tries. Jared Evans, I agree, mate, was outstanding. Put him in my team league timely because it was in front of Wayne Pivac and Stephen Jones. Look at that for a little
That's beautiful.
show and outside. It's great. And it's great anticipation. Angus O'Brien's an underrated player. I like him. I like him a lot.
Yeston Gaming, can we appreciate the chip from Dan Jones?
Yeah,
not so much a chip as a reverse chip because it's a grubber that hops.
Yeah,
and it's the weight
really
in it
nice.
is absolutely beautiful.
And he gives it in the eyes and all, plays it with the outside of his foot.
And a little hat tip for Johnny McNichol as well, because the Scarlets were in a mess there for a while, and he's the one who picked up that quick penalty, wasn't he?
Yeah.
And he was like, right, we've got to do something now. Let's get going. You don't often get that from, fullbacks and wings. It's normally one of the forwards who makes a little move like that. So fair play to him.
Harley Worthy asks about James Ratty at 8. Really good.
He was
really good. Might have found his rightful position there. Hope so. Hope so. Again, a guy who's been discarded by another region and has picked up form. Dai Young will have the Cardiff Blues rattling. I think he will by next season. They need a couple of sign-ins, but they got good young players. Ben Thomas again showed some skills. So yeah, it was a great game in great weather.
Yeah, and the other thing, Josh Turnbull, he is the Welsh Ruddock. In terms of, the Reece Ruddock comparison, having a season probably of his career in his early 30s.
He's not as hard as Ruddock, is he?
I'm not saying that. I see him around
town.
He'll choke slam me. But, another magnificent game.
Yeah, that was good. But there was a couple of things that we didn't get to in that one, which are crucial. So something we don't see that often is a charge down conversion. And something you really don't see that often is a charge down conversion from under the sticks, you might say. This was Lee Halfpenny straight back, and he was absolutely livid.
He was furious with himself.
If you keep watching that, he's banging his knees. He is absolutely livid. And Jason Harris, fair play to the effort, because the rest of his teammates are under the post. For me, he jumps it. right?
Well,
But do you
I
know
don't
what?
know. I don't know.
Go for it.
Well,
Go on.
I think Lee has a little
He's
moment.
got a
I don't know if we,
stutter at the back when he
I don't know
starts
if
his
we got,
move.
I don't know if we got the actual frame by frame, but he probably just gets it. And Lee is so meticulous in his preparation and his practice, right? He would be absolutely livid with himself. He's that sort of professional. I've chased, and I only had a short playing career, right? That's why I ended up coaching. I finished with a nasty bump when I was about 25, 24. But from the age of about 16 to 24, I probably chased 500,000 conversions. I was that sort of, I was like that guy. I chased everyone just to try and get one and stop the 2 points. I
Yeah.
never got anywhere near any of them. This guy, he's a big guy, Jason Harris, as well.
Yeah.
Fair play to him, because it was the difference in the game.
Yes, it
Yep.
was. And he
We
works
didn't
his
know
guts
then.
out all over the field, that boy. For a winger, he puts in a big shift.
Yeah, because Cardiff had been well ahead in that game. Scarlets were coming back, but then you're
Yes, they
still
were.
going, it's not really. But, that was the difference between, at that time, 16-26 and 14-26. And it was really important and good to see.
And do you know what? It's interesting there. Harley Worthy says it's like the Joe Simmons one from a couple of months back. And that's probably what's happened, isn't it? They now know any move forward from the goal kicker, any twitch means you can go. So, that's what they did.
Let me tell you a quick story, right? Because all the thousands of times I chased and never got there, that one makes a difference. And it obviously came through my coaching a little bit. And Andy Robinson was like me. And at Bristol, we had a big semi-final, Rotherham away. Nicky Robinson kicks a goal. So this is now the other way. Now he's kicking a penalty goal.
Yeah.
And we had a guy called Mitch Eady. He's back at Bristol Bears now, but he went to Northampton, quick as you like. And he chased a 35, 40 meter shot at goal that Nick Robinson hit the post. It bounced down. Mitch Eady caught it and went over for the try.
No way.
Yes, well, it's not a lost cause. You never know when it'll come your way.
Yeah, chase it down.
That's it. And as we all know, many, many kicks hit the posts in games. That's what we have learned.
Holly's
Holly.
inside info.
Right, the very end of this game, or at least close to the very end of this game, to be precise, 76 minutes, 50 seconds. Ken Owens wanted to challenge something, and referee Sean Gallagher said, "No, you can't." And in the prep for this show, this is one of the questions that was floating around. Why exactly was it? So we're going to offer some clarification for this now. So here's the clip.
Tackling that and clean up from the side.
Okay, so no, wait now a second. I have to explain this to you. That's not foul play, and it's not a whistle decision, and it's not leading to a try. I know, but it's not foul play. It's not leading to a try, and it's not a non-decision. So you can't challenge that. So we're going back to this penalty. And you can't. If it's no, we can't challenge that. Okay, so we're going back here.
Now, so that actually kept going. So when you're watching the game, there's another 2 moments where obviously the chat's still going between Owens and the ref is trying to do the thing where, look, the player mightn't agree, but if you can get them to understand what you're saying, then at least you're getting to a starting point. But in fairness, the commentators seemed to be a little confused at the time on TV. There were a lot of fans were confused. So let's just walk through why this was. So we got a comment from the Pro 14 referee chief, Greg Garner. Greg's comment is, you can only challenge a whistled decision in the last 5 minutes. Okay, the last 5 minutes, it does change, but you can challenge any whistled decision. The exception for those is anything that's foul play or anything under current protocol in the build-up to a try. He, i.e. Scarlet's captain Ken Owens, wanted to challenge for a side entry offence, not foul play, not a whistle decision, and not leading up to a try. So Sean Gallagher, the ref, was right not to allow him to challenge. And in fairness, that is what the referee is explaining at the time.
Yeah.
Where there was a little bit of confusion in the game itself was because there'd been a Josh Turnbull challenge earlier in the game, 68 minutes, 22 seconds approximately.
Top McGeady.
Where he said, referee, I was dragged into a maul coming up, and he was in the build-up to a try, right? So the commentators, it was a little odd, but the ref and the TMO both agreed instantly. upon seeing just one replay that both players were in the maul. Therefore, look, I can be holding you. It's not the same thing as an open play. But where this gets down to is, we touched on this previously. Foul play covers a lot, but if you're going for side entry, it's not even foul play, and it doesn't fit in under Law 9. And this is where it's hard for the referees. It's hard for the spectators.
God, it's hard for anybody.
Yeah.
Do you know?
However,
go on. Sorry.
However, that Greg Garner's quote there has been published. The law variation or trial with regards to the last 5 minutes has been published, isn't it? All captains, all coaches and captains and broadcasters will have had this. So it's incumbent upon the captains and the coaches and the broadcasters / commentators to know what the actual judgment is. And it's clear as day from Greg Garner.
Yeah.
So if you don't know it, then you're not doing your job, are you?
There is that. Do you know what, though? It just goes to prove how difficult refereeing a game is. If all I had to do in an 80 minutes was just that law, nothing else, I don't think I'd get that right.
It is
so that's
fascinating.
ignoring everything else.
Good, the guys,
right.
Now you get multiple times a day where the referee basically gets a spot quiz on the law book, right?
Yeah.
With a very specific one by a captain who'd be quite canny. So if I was looking at that back, if I was taking a learning from this, which is a horrible word, but I'd say, okay, we can't do side entry, but you then say, can you look for a dangerous entry at that ruck, please?
Yes.
Because dangerous play, it comes in, and if they spotted something then while they were looking at that replay, they'd say, "Oh, wait, we spotted the illegal thing. Actually, that try shouldn't have stood," or something like that, or whatever it might be. That's how I would do it. You have to be devious.
The danger is, and that if they don't, you've used up your challenge.
You've lost your challenge. Yeah, but at the end, this was an end game challenge. Like, this was late in the game. Jared YNWA comes in, the comment about the Luke McGrath challenge, the very end of the Leinster game. Luke McGrath's high tackle challenge was dismissed by the ref, as the referee had suspected that the team doctor advised to challenge. This was overheard on the ref mic, and we discussed this possibility before on the show. It's not written into the trial, but the referee's interpretation was it's an on-field challenge by the captain and on-field players.
Yeah,
I think you could even see it. Or you could see that happening on the sideline, as I remember. You could see them chatting.
Something. So it is there somewhere about shitehousery coming in from doctors and physios. Which reminds me of another Holleyism. I used to radio down to my physios and trainers on the sideline and get them to pretend that I was talking to them about infringements and get them to make up in the earshot of the assistant referees and the refs. I'm just telling you what goes on. I'm being honest here. Yeah. So my physios, I would talk to them in the week about it. So, for example, if the tight dead was boring in, say, he would look up on his mic in earshot of the touch judge and go, "Yes, Sean, I can't speak to the touch judge. Stop asking me." But he knows that the tight dead is boring. in. I've asked him once. I can't ask him again. So shitehousery goes on. That's all I'm saying.
That's like KGB stuff. That is.
To all referees and officials watching at any level, I apologise for Sean and his kind.
All coaches now are going, "Holley, what have you done?"
No. I think they should take his trophies off him.
Think so. Yeah, exactly. Then we can be all square. No Pro 14 trophies each.
Next week, I'm going to do this from the backdrop of my trophy cabinet there.
Oh, look at this.
I'll do it just to prove to you, Williams, that it's full.
We move on. So there's a lot going on in that game. There was even more went on with the Holley's getting booted from the Magic Circle. Possibly could be true.
It's out.
The Emirates Lions, who are now going to play against the British and Irish Lions. So we finally get Lions versus Lions on the tour. I'm very excited. It's the right thing to do, folks. We all know it. Emirates Lions 37, DHL Stormers 39. There was a lot of action in this game, and all I could kind of think of looking back, because I mixed up my kickoffs that day and I missed watching it live, was just the gladiator scene going, "Are you not entertained?" Like,
Tell you
this
what,
was
it was an epic game, and the Stormers were lucky. I've written about first mention of the column, but even in defeat, the Lions, they handled the ball so beautifully. They are back row. It's like having another 3 centres. It's so fluid. There was one little move in the second half. The passing, when you see a backline move and nobody checks their run at all, there was about 2 or 3 of these. The passing is so accurate. They're a real joy to watch, the Lions. Maybe not quite the pack that the other 3 have got, but it's just a joy to watch. Fantastic.
Again, I love watching it, right? But we just don't know yet.
No, I know who's who.
I can't wait. I don't want to wish time away. I can't wait for the final. Look, we'd all be gutted if it ends up, Bulls 48, Northern side, not a lot. But the form Northern side's going to get through. So at least we're gonna find a benchmark. And you know what? It'll give us a little insight into where the Lions are going to be.
Well, but
the British and Irish Lions, I mean.
But the other side of that is I'd love the Bulls or the Sharks or whoever. This is, look at the handling there. It's so sharp.
But look at the space, Paul. And I'm saying this with a little tongue-in-cheek. We don't know. I don't think these sides defend as organised as some of our teams.
Right.
Look at it. Look at it. It's like a training session.
I'm going to say something now that you're going to throw back in my face probably for the next 5 years. Is there a difference, right, between missing a tackle and being beaten? Right, so the only reason I say this is sometimes, the way Northern Hemisphere carrying can be very direct, can it? And it's often one out, a big forward running straight. Is it different down there because you've got players who do more, therefore you can't just stand your ground and take a hit?
It's a good question, but it sort of backs up my point. I don't think their systems are as organised. Therefore, individuals are left vulnerable. You're seeing big forwards push off from the ruck and leave the inside ball. The Irish sides will eat that up.
I can't wait for as I'm watching the many good clips of attacking play here and taking all your points on board. I cannot wait for Adam to clip all of these little comments in the lead up and possibly after the final and see how it all looks.
I may have to eat my hat, but I don't know. I don't know. I think attacking wise, yes. Look at this. The skills are amazing.
Right now, I don't count those as missed tackles. I count those as being skinned. Yeah. If there was a separate category on the stats for skinned,
there would be. It'd be something like defensive error. But I mean, look at that. There's no way. There's no way
missed tackle
that happens against Leinster. For me,
these aren't missed tackles. That's just getting skinned.
That's a defensive error. Why are those 2 guys going for the big ball carrier? One's got to stay off and get Duplessis. So. That's a young Rassie Erasmus, isn't it?
I saw exactly the same thing when I saw him shape up for that kick. I was like, that is Rassie's love child.
Yeah. But I tell you what, I think Stormers fans would be happy that they won that because it didn't look that way for a long time in that match. But brilliant entertainment. I'm loving it, I've got to say.
Serious entertainment. And then I just want to tee up the next game. The next game was the Bulls against the Sharks. Oof. And I want to just tee up 2 different things. Mm-hmm. The first thing was the title of this podcast last week when it went out, which was Sharks Ripping It Up, Should the North Be Worried? And the second thing was a tweet by Paul Williams, which said, on May 9th, I'm officially adopting the Sharks as my South African team. My apologies to all concerned. Yeah. I will now read out the scoreline from the next game. Vodacom Bulls 43. Chelsea Sharks 9, including none in the second half. This was awesome by the Bulls.
Oh man, they are tight 5. They're another level. I was looking through the stats, and I think they are tight 5 carried 3 times the number and double the distance. And I know you can't read too much into carrying stats, but I think you can with tight 5 because they don't tend to carry that much. If you've got a double in the tight 5, it's a big key indicator.
moreover, Paul, the guy who just scored the try there got a double just in the second half.
Well, there we go. It's and well, you can see by the size of that lad there. I mean, and the scrummaging in this game it's like test level. It was unbelievable.
Again, but I got to stop you, mate. Is that happening? Is that happening against Connacht?
Maybe
no
not.
Chance.
Maybe not. But the flip of it, I'm going to try it once more. Are they so worried about it going out wide?
They got a 2-man overlap, for God's sake. Come on. When does that happen? Narcona was playing last time that happened.
If the Bulls put 50 on Leinster, I want one of your trophies.
Okay, I'm bringing Gerard back in with a comment. The Bulls in a wet, toppy pitch in Rodney Parade in freezing February will be interesting. Well, the Rodney Parade pitch is better than it used to be. Yeah,
but the Bulls will be perfectly adept to that. They'll just scrummage the Dragons until they're turned into pate.
We're going to see a very, very, very fast maul very soon in this game.
Yeah, the running maul.
The running maul. And I'm not absolutely clear if this should have been allowed or not. But honestly, I don't care because it's one of the fastest mauls I've ever seen. It's wait
through the
now.
Middle. Look at that thing.
They're actually running.
Yeah, it's like the Roman tortoise, that shape they used to have with the shields on top. It's incredible.
Yeah. Can we go back, Ad? Can we go back to the start of the line-out? All right. So have a look at the Sharks defending this. Right? Are they going to contest in the air? Are they going to stay down? Neither. Right? It's all over. Now it's all over. I'm telling you now. There's no way you're stopping that.
All right, but what I'm talking about is when this breaks through, right? Is this
a flying wedge?
No.
So there's two Sharks still involved, right? And if they were really smart, because they weren't at the back, they should have disengaged.
Yeah.
And then anyone coming in at the front, it would have been an obstruction penalty.
Yeah.
But it's like the speed that all this happened at was unreal. I had to wind it back to make sure I saw what I thought I saw. It was just class.
But you know what's weird though, right? Just let's assume, I'm not saying I agree with this at all, but let's assume we're saying that because if we're saying there's a defensive problem in South African.
Whoa! No one's saying there's a defensive problem.
Right? Okay. No, but right. I'll generalize.
Sean, the headline I've just written says Holley says there's a defensive South African.
Yes, it's box defensively weak.
I'm just after a coaching job in South Africa.
But they say this about Kiwi Super Rugby and Australian Super Rugby, don't it? Whenever there's like 10 tries, look at the defense, right? But how come at test level it's never there? It is. How come at test level it all gets fixed? I can never understand how it's a problem for that, and then at test level it's fixed. It doesn't make sense to me. I
might be eating my words. I've seen enough patterns of play, and I'm looking at these highlights, and they are highlights to think that doesn't look quite right to me. You know.
Welcome, Quasi into the chat. Bulls are looking good. Jake White has got them really strong on defense.
Yes.
Well, they shut down the Sharks pretty well. I'll take that.
Yeah. And they take some shutting down.
Yeah, defo. Before we move off to South African games, can I give a big shout out to the use of the conversion clock by the Super Sport broadcasters, I believe? That is brilliant and should be everywhere. So fair play. The top 14, they had their kicking clock in a good few years ago. Remember Jonathan Sexton, I think, was pulled by it once by a referee. And they have it in all four corners of the ground, and that's brilliant. But this is on screen, and the minute that ball is dotted down, it goes 89, 88. Adam Redmond, producer, says the clock is en route.
I'd like to see this. I'd like to see this step further. Put a bit more pressure on the kicker and have it counting down. You know, like a heartbeat in the stadium.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Like the countdown clock. Ooh, snap left, missed. Right, I was going to mention this. I've been banging on about this for about 2 years, that we need to have a weather graphic on the screen to see if it's raining, which direction the wind's going. Because the amount of games that I watch, that people slag off and say, "Oh my God, there's only one try in 80 minutes," and it's like playing in like Equatorial New Guinea.
I'll give you a better one. Never mind watching on TV. I was in the RDS one day. I was with friends, so I was in the exposed north stand,
Yeah,
and I was right in the middle of it. And whatever way that we were sheltered from the wind, a kick was missed. I commented about it something after the game. I was like, how the hell did they miss that kick?
there we
Like,
go.
there was no wind. And someone else who was at the game said, what do you mean there was no wind?
It's got 40 mile an hour. Yeah.
So I love the weather graphic. I think it'd be a great addition to
Because
video.
it changes everything.
Right, we're told
This
to
is
move on.
another-
Benetton
this is another
Zebre.
good- Look at that offload from Negri. Oh,
Negra, if you're watching, Seb, we miss you. But yeah, that
Beautiful
was
offload.
beautiful. Lovely
Yeah,
offload.
Seb. I don't think he is, but if he is, for the record, I picked
at
him in the
that.
second row in my team of the week because I had to find somewhere for him, and the back row is just ridiculous. You know, I challenge anybody to pick a team of the week in this Rainbow Cup. It's
Yeah.
honestly, it's like a national lottery. But fair play. What a turnaround from Benetton.
Yeah.
Zebra aren't easy customers these days. Both games were close.
Mhm.
3 from 3. Fair play. And all right, but they've beaten Glasgow at home and
Glasgow
and Zebra twice, haven't they?
And you know,
Right.
and it's so nice to see Owane playing well. You know, he's a proper triple threat player. He is kick, pass, run, as we've seen there. He's a joy to watch.
So here's the comment from the ultimate sharpshooter. Are Benetton the real deal, or is it just because of quote unquote weak opposition? So they've beaten Zebra twice. They've beaten Glasgow. They hammered Glasgow, really.
Yes.
We were talking up Zebra when Benetton were going on their 0 for the season during the regular season.
Yeah.
So we can't then, to be intellectually honest, say Zebra are really poor opposition.
No, it's a bit of
you're right.
both, isn't it?
And Benetton did play well towards the end of the regular season in Europe.
Yeah.
So there's a definite turnaround there. Again, we'll know in the coming weeks because they've got, in inverted commas, more difficult opposition apparently. But we'll see. You know, they have to travel to, I think, the Ospreys for the last for round 6. So we'll apologise for the lack of uninformed hot takes.
I love a hot take. I'm just glad to see him on top of it. I don't care about the opposition. You know, they're on top of the table or near it. It's great.
Lads,
it's good for the league.
we're just filling time here until we see the Zebra try that comes in right at the end of this game. Because, folks, if you haven't seen this, and if you're listening to this game and you haven't seen this, go seek out a clip of the Zebra try that makes it, I think, 31-27. It was absolutely fantastic, and I can't wait for it. Connacht Benetton is looking like a very interesting game.
That'll be a good game.
I think it'd be a really good game. I think it'll go down to the wire. I do. Both sides I enjoy watching. You know, love the coaches, and the players are honest players. A lot of them sometimes are playing either for contracts or to prove a point. You know, I know that shouldn't be a factor, but it is. You know, at the end of the day, and as we said at the top of the show, both teams now are in with a sniff.
Yes.
You know, you get on a little run now. It's only 3 games left, and you get to a Rainbow Cup final. You know, you get to play in the final against a South African team and set your season up next year.
Yeah,
look at
that's
this.
Such a nice try.
Yeah, but in fairness, though, Paul, I think what we've learned here is that we have to ask: are Zebra defending just like Sean's South African teams?
No,
you know?
no. Look, they got guys back there covering. No, we are seeing a 3-man overlap in South Africa. It's ridiculous. I hope I don't eat my words. I'm just defending the North. King of the North.
That was such a good try. But yeah, Benetton are in. Ultimate Sharpshooter has also come back in saying he's from South Africa. I'm sorry, I've said he. I'm making an assumption there. They are from South Africa, and I would really like a good gauge of which teams are top tier and which are the minnows. We'll get to the table very soon because
that's good.
Not so long ago, we would have had a little bit of a different view of how to answer that question, and we can only judge who's playing well now.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll get to that.
One of the minnows has been on growth hormone. Let's put it that way.
A little bit. Taking a lot of juice. Edinburgh 24, Glasgow Warriors.
Another great game.
This was super. I do need to comment about Adam Hastings' hair. I'm not happy. I'm not happy at all.
Not happy.
No.
Bill Matter
it was a very good game.
Do you know Bill Matter, with his 70-meter carry involved, included, he averaged 10 meters a carry from about 18. It's incredible.
He could be in the team of the week every week.
He's brilliant, Bill Matter. I know he's not underrated in the league, but I think he should have a higher sort of presence in conversations in all of the leagues. He's such a good player.
I think we got to credit Glasgow and Danny Wilson.
Yeah.
They've had a tough time. He's taken a lot of heat and turned it around, even as recent as the Benetton disaster. You know, to come back, win the 1872 Cup, and then go to Murrayfield and beat them back to back. You know, fair play. He's done well, and I spoke to him on the phone. He's remaining calm. You know, and the players have fronted up for him. I think just the way he is with them. Look at, there's a spirit there, clearly, isn't there?
Yes. Do you know what I think? What was really good about this performance, because their back line always plays pretty well, but their tight five was really good. Ollie Keble played really well. George Turner carried really well, and then when they've got that front foot ball, they look like a complete team, don't they? They look a bit more Connaughty then. It was a good game, and the bit I put in my column is the word derby can often be a bit overused in all of the leagues. You know, you try and force these derby matches, but these have felt like genuine derby matches. They've been like flat out aggressive, like they really, really don't want to lose the games, and it shows.
What I'm liking it is across all teams, there's one or two names that are cropping up that are having big games, and we haven't heard a lot about them. Rory Darge, right? Another one here.
Yeah.
14 carries, 17 tackles as a 7. He's a diminutive sort of 7. There he is. You can see him there. He's not a massive bloke. He's a bit of a Hamish Watson about him.
Yeah.
But big influence in the game. We come to my team of the week in a bit, but there's names that I love that.
George Horn.
How do you stop that? Isn't it?
Yeah.
Look at
I remember Brian O'Driscoll doing something very similar a good few years ago now, maybe 15 years ago. It's so sharp.
Yeah.
Because all you're doing is move the ball. I don't have to move.
Caelan Blade scored one the other day. It's like putting the ball in a little mouse hole, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like just like drop it in, like done.
Yeah, that's good. It was a weird last couple of minutes of this game because both sides made weird kicking mistakes. And then there was a very odd bubble at the end of the game. And it was like I was sitting there going, did both teams just kind of say, here, can we just go to the pub?
Enough for this.
Yeah. It was really odd because the previous umpteen, minutes, 70 sort of 8 minutes were like, this is really intense. And it's just something weird happened. It was really odd. But good game. We've only one more game to go, and it was the big one because they call it the one that Sean Holley was in commentary for.
It was a brilliant game.
Hell of a game.
Dragons 26, Ospreys 42. And including, will you thank Reese for the shout out he gave for the Jonah Holmes try? Because he screams, he's gonna go under the sticks.
I tell you what, there's a backstory to this because Ospreys were dreadful against Scarlets the week before. The Dragons have had, in Wales, they've been pumped up, despite losing to the Blues last week, or they should have won. They played great. The round before, they 50 on the Scarlets, and even in defeat in this one, everybody's saying how great, because they honestly they played fantastically well. Some great individual performances. And the backstory is, it was my turn to do man of the match, player of the match, and I'm getting to about 70 minutes, and it is a lottery, right? There wasn't any individual as such you could say in the Ospreys team who deserved to win and manufactured the win really well. He made the actual. It could have been Ruben Morgan Williams. Morgan Morris was good. Luke
Dan
Price kicked
Evans
well. Well, he
did all right,
didn't. He had a
didn't
quiet game, but in the Dragons team, it could have been Rio Dyer. You know, honestly, it could have been the fullback. It could have been, well, it was, and I don't know, in the centre.
Yeah.
There was so many. It was the Bateman, the prop. But anyway, it was a great game, and what it did, it dragged the Ospreys into a game of rugby. Dan Baker was another one. But the Dragons are playing with a sort of free spirit. I mean, that's a shocking tackle from Dan Evans. That's why, Paul, you don't pick man of the match.
That was completely uncalled for. In
No.
defense of Williams.
I was like getting punched in the kid.
We're getting too pally. We're getting too pally. I got to start bullying him. But this kid, Ruben Morgan Williams, the 9,
nice player, isn't he?
An oldish head on young shoulders, and he creates something out of nothing here. Little feet, and then holds it up. That's a good play.
So
let Derby cross another youngster.
In my notes for the show, I have this line. Sean, what did you think of the Ospreys try that was definitely not a forward pass from Ruben Morgan Williams?
I must admit, I thought it was live.
That wasn't reviewed.
No.
It was reviewed.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah. For a long time, he was never forward.
Oh, I missed that. Sorry. That's on me.
Was. Jonah Holmes on fire at the moment. You know, everything he touches turns to gold. He's really going well. You know, tap penalty. We talked about the third set piece or the fourth set piece, the new set piece, whatever. And there's Dan Baker, the former Osprey. Holley's on fire, charging over. Look at this. This comes right from that try. Dan Carter, as Shane Collins doesn't regather. But look at this. He turns it on. He sees a prop in front of him, goes for it. He doesn't believe himself. He can score here. And he does. It's a great individual try. And he's capable of that. This was the Dan Evans that we know. Short ball. Shocking defense from Bertrand. No. But it was a ding-dong affair. It really was. We'll probably see a Rio Dyer thing here now. I should mention, because Rodri Jenkins is absolutely filling up our timeline. The news today that Scott Otten has had to retire, the Ospreys hooker, who's been brilliant for the last couple of seasons and getting a lot of plaudits, scoring a lot of tries for Moz. He's a good kid and he's a good player. Had to retire for a serious neck injury. So, you know, our best wishes go to Scott from under the sticks.
Good luck, Scott.
I'm sure things will work out for you, Scott, and I'm really sorry you have to finish. So that's that. Keenan Williams was kept quiet till the second half, and then he came to the fore, and then him and Morgan Morris. Look at the old timer.
He's there, linking
for Max. Now, do you say Nagy or Nagy?
I think they said Nagy in comms, didn't they?
That's
Max. A nice little drag back pass, though. I like that from Alan.
Lovely from Alan Wynne. Look at Al. 80th minute. Big Al, Lions captain. Have some of that. And that's Max Nagy. Shocking tackle.
Do you know, my big takeout was Dan Carter, as Shane Williams called him. When you consider that he's only 20 years old, and that's young for a lock to be not exactly dominating, but holding his own. That's quite young, isn't it, for a second row? They don't tend to come into, unless you are Alan Wynne-Jones, they don't tend to mature till they're like 24. And he's playing really well, you know. It's and like you say, Jonah Holmes. To see Jonah Holmes, you think of how many... You see some players who you get the impression have almost come like mercenary signings to get test caps. And then if it doesn't work out, they leave again. That isn't the impression you get from Jonah Holmes at all. I imagine he'll be the player of the season at the club. He's been absolutely stunning in the last 2 months.
I saw him as a youngster playing for Leeds Carnegie, and Andy Robinson said, watch this kid. Brilliant. Playing fullback. And I was like, wow, we got to try and sign him, Robbo. But yeah, he's really playing well at the moment. Here's the table.
Yeah, good time. Here we have it. So this is why things have got a lot squeakier and weirder, because this table does not look like we might have thought it would look. Benetton are at the top.
Yeah.
Played 3. Won 3. 2 bonus points, 14 points. Second, Munster, 10 points. Third, Ospreys, 10 points. Fourth, Glasgow, 10 points. And then all with 9 points. Leinster, Cardiff, and Connacht. And then you're back to the Dragons in 8th with 7. So essentially, 1st through 7th you're up. You can, with 2 games to go, you can make the final. This is going to be good. So Connacht and Benetton, that's why we referenced this earlier on. We're looking forward to seeing that game, but there's a lot riding on it coming.
3 games to go, and
hold on. I'm pretty sure every team has 2 to go. Correct me if I'm wrong, super producer. Right, we'll keep going. Yeah, it's 2 games to go. We got 3 rounds, but
three rounds to go. Sorry,
3 rounds, but the northern teams are playing 2 games each. There's bye weeks involved.
You were both right there. You can both have a lolly.
Thanks, Dan. Let's go to do we have the southern side of the table? I have it here. If we can talk it through. We've got the Bulls on top, played 13 points. The Sharks second, 10 points. They were doing very well until Paul Williams. Stormers 7 points. The Lions 0 wins from the 3 games, 3 points. So we will see how these goes. Before we get to fixtures, I want to do Holley's heroes, if that's okay.
Get them up.
Yeah,
who's he got in you?
As I said, it's a hell of a job. This, honestly, it's every week it's difficult. Particularly you had the South African teams in now. Obviously, I watch every minute of every game, and it's not just about stats, but they do help. It's about contribution. So sometimes I pick guys who are not on the winning team. So I didn't do that a lot this week, but you take.
As an ethos, I'm always okay with that. This is This is a team sport. Someone can dominate a game and still lose.
Yeah, that's right. It's right. Look, so
in some ways it's even better because if you played well in the losing team, you really did play well. Do you know what I mean?
Well, there you go. The Adam Hastings had a lot of involvement. His average carry was huge. Van der Merwe 2 tries for the Stormers, and again a lot of contribution. 1 try Van der Merwe, Duplessis 2. Henshaw was named player of the match, and obviously I took away the incident. The boy Jacobs.
He's fast.
Wow. Jared Evans, and there's strong contention from like some Mornstein, Hendricks, 1 player of the match on the losing side for the Lions. But Jared Evans was all-round game was superb. Ruben Morgan-Williams we just saw. There's the Bulls loose head. He came on at half-time, right?
Yeah.
And proceeded. Let me just get this right here. He scored a try and made 12 carries. Right outside of the set piece stuff where he was really good. Lizo Gaboka.
Yeah.
Right. He was brilliant. He's a massive bloke. He's dynamic. He went in just for his second half contribution.
Yeah.
George Turner, we saw score a try there against his old side. Really. Malherbe. Timely for the Lions going over. Negri, I switched to second row. I've got to mention these 2, 5 and 6.
Yeah.
Sorry, hold on. Point of information. You switched him into second row because you have so many back rows to choose, didn't you?
Yeah. But it's my team, so I can do what I want.
It is.
I'm not angry. I'm just disappointed.
I can do what I want. It's my team, and I'm the one getting all the stick on social media, so that's fine. So this boy Niall Murray was fun, and Prendergast. Those 2 put a hell of a shift in defense. When I talk to you about CJ Stander's contributions, carries, that guy's difficult to stop, and these 2 put a hell of a shift in. We saw the Connor tries, but these 2 went a long way to helping the team win massively.
How old is Murray? 22.
He's only a youngster, yeah, and he's been in my Holley's heroes earlier in the season as well. I went for Rory Darge, because again, I like guys who do the unseen stuff. You know what I mean? Morgan Morris at 8, he carried the most as a forward in the game. So we're all talking about Dan Baker and Tipperick was this and this and Wainwright. But this guy, he goes about his work unassuming. He's a young player, and I like it. So I put them in the team, and I'm able to justify it. So there's a different look. And I think my part in short here is that not one player from this week's team, Holley's Heroes, was in last week's team.
Oh, nice.
It's art.
Yeah,
Harley
one point,
Worthy.
Josh. I picked him last week, Harley. I picked him last week. I'll just double check that now. I picked him last week. I'm pretty sure. Go on, carry on while I find it.
Calex says Jaden Hayward was immense for Benetton. Even if he doesn't deserve Team of the Week, still deserves some recognition for his form in his final season.
Absolutely. I'm a big fan of Jaden Hayward. I know he's not the fastest of fullbacks, but his passing is beautiful, and he always puts people into space. I'm a big fan.
Well, he's a major part of how that Benetton back three have been able to develop and being a real weapon. I mean, I know the 0-4 season this year was just weird. We didn't see it coming because they had developed so much previously, and he was a major part of that.
Yeah.
Okay, we go into looking forward. So the next 2 weeks, it's a split round 4. Okay, so round 4, the South African version, is this coming weekend. We have on Saturday, I cannot say South Sea Sharks. I cannot say it. The Sharks versus the DHL Stormers. That's a lot easier. That's kickoff midday UK time. That's 1:00 p.m. South Africa time. That's in Durban. That'll be good. Then followed by the Emirates Lions against the Vodacom Bulls. That's at 2:30 UK, 3:30 p.m. South African time.
Tell you what, my Skybox will be happy. It's in pieces after the last few weeks.
Here we go. I'm going to go, right, the Lions are going to cause an upset.
Against the Bulls, could easily happen. Yeah.
Well, the Stormers are already going to go and beat the Sharks due to the Williams curse.
I don't even want to say it. I feel really sorry for the Sharks already, and we're only 7 days into the relationship.
Yeah, it's a bit rough. So after that, that'll be round 4, the South African side, and then the round 4 on the northern side, we'll have Munster against Cardiff, currently Blues. 7:35 p.m. on Friday, May 28th. Then on the Saturday, Ulster Scarlets, 3 p.m. Benetton versus Connacht, 5:15 UK time. That's 6:15 Italy time. And Dragons versus Glasgow at 7:35 at a venue to be confirmed in the very near future. My garden is available. Just saying.
I did know where they were playing that.
Yeah, to be confirmed. So that's on the weekend of 28th, 29th, and then we've got round 5 will be the weekend of June 4th, 5th, and 6th. The final round will be 11th, 12th, 13th, and live breaking news. That game will be at Cardiff City Stadium. Okay. We have coach of the month time.
Here we go.
Okay, so Loch Lomond, not breaking.
Well-known news.
Well-known news. Did I not have literally here in the thing saying to be confirmed? Okay, fine. Right, coach of the month. We have advance notice because we work for them of the Pro 14 coach of the month, but it's brought to you by Loch Lomond Whiskies, and they very generously sent us some of their bottles a few months back. Loch Lomond, such was my taste for your product. I'm running low. I'm just going to leave that out there. So it's Paul.
Mine's done.
It's gone.
We'll just leave dead air for a second and we'll see what happens. But we want to just go through the Loch Lomond Whiskies Coach of the Month for April and May, such that it was. Voting on this will open tomorrow. I have 4 official nominees, and then we're going to throw in an unofficial nominee. The official nominees are Kieran Crowley, Danny Wilson, Toby Booth, and Di Young. So they are the Loch Lomond Whiskies Coach of the Month for April and May. Sean, as the resident coach, that's top of mind. Kieran Crowley is when I said, like, whoever's involved in Benetton gets this for me. But am I being overly simplistic?
No, they haven't lost. You know, they've gone well. They've finished the season strong. They've started this Rainbow Cup really well. The hangover from the regular season, you know, only drawing one game, I think, and not winning a game, it takes a lot. It takes a lot out of you and a lot out of your team. So to be able to pick them up, I think it says a lot about him and what the players think about him. So he's a worthy nominee, as is Danny Wilson, for the same sort of reasons.
Yeah.
Tough year, and then turns it round. I think it's the first 1872 Cup they've won in 4 years, I think, something like that. But that's a good one. Toby Booth, I'm not so sure on this one. I think the win on the weekend will have something about that, but he's definitely turned them into much more of a force now, more consistent, and he started with basics. He's gone back to basics, and that's the right thing to do. Dai Young, I'm not convinced by the Blues yet. I think they will get there under Dai. It's early yet. I think Kieran Crowley or Danny Wilson probably deserve that. But
Yeah,
I'll vote in.
I think exactly the same thing, and I'd give it to Crowley just because it's a big turnaround, and it may be one of the last things he does at the club. You never know.
Are you trying to hint at something there, Williams? Now, are you?
Hmm?
Are you trying to hint at anything to our maybe to our Italian viewers right now?
I haven't said anything.
Neither have I. So Kieran Crowley, Benetton, Danny Wilson, Glasgow, Toby Booth, Ospreys, Dai Young, Cardiff, currently Blues, future Cardiff Rugby. That's who our Loch Lomond Whiskies Coach of the Month nominees are. Jake White, I'm putting in a good word for you with the organisers. See if we can squeeze you in. Not sure if we're able to do it yet.
Just a side on this, hand. Didn't Glenn Delaney win the Coach of the Month?
I think he did.
Poison Chalice?
I think he did win it. Yeah, you're right. One of the
Don't go winning it, boys.
This could be very awkward. Very awkward. Very quickly.
The producer is seething behind the scenes. No more Loch Lomond for Holley.
Holley.
So here's where I get to the next bit, which is that the good news for the winning coach is that when they receive their P45, having left the job, they will also receive a bespoke bottle of Loch Lomond 18-year-old with a personalised plaque complete with their name, club of that day and date. The whiskey is a combination of different spirit styles brought together to deliver a full-bodied single malt that has the characteristic hints of fruit and spice found in Loch Lomond single malts. I had the 12-year-old; it was very nice. We're also having a Loch Lomond whiskey tasting.
Well, I was.
In mid-June.
Holley on water, warm water, straight from the tap.
There was a competition for this, which a number of our listeners and followers and viewers entered, and this is going to be good. So they entered to get a tasting pack that would be sent to them, and they could experience the tasting at the same time. It's going to be great crack. Genuinely don't know which date we're going to land on. We have a few things to work out, but it's going to be good fun. Bit of whiskey talk, bit of rugby talk. It's going to be a good mix. A few very eagle-eyed people got in touch because they said this competition was open, when they read the small print, to residents of the UK only. So we have many complaints on the show because we're too pro-Irish.
Yeah.
This is now complaints because something we've done is not including the Irish. All I can say is that apparently now we're not pro-Irish anymore, but we're definitely not anti-Irish, right?
Nicely balanced, like the whiskey, you could argue.
God, you do work in marketing, don't you? But it's going to be good. So look, we'll play this one by ear. I'm looking forward to it whenever it happens. I'm looking forward to sharing this with the viewers and listeners. It's going to be a crack. And visit Loch Lomond Malts on Twitter. That's where they are, to discover the spirit within. We're definitely anti-Irish. It's Andy's last pod. Thanks very much.
He's gone. He's been live on it. It's our first live.
Next week it's just going to be Paul.
Just me hawking things and talking about tennis stringing
a racket in the background.
Yeah.
Right, we're at the very end. We've got the last few little bits of news and notes to get through. I've got a few here, but lob anything in you want, folks. The Heineken Champions Cup final, La Rochelle against Toulouse. I'll be watching. A lot of
I
fuss in Ireland, lads, because
really want
obviously-
La Rochelle to win.
yeah, it'd be nice. But I'm okay with Toulouse. They've got a really good team and they play
Yeah,
great
they have.
rugby, so
Yeah,
I'm
they
okay
do.
with it. Oh, Calix, Kieran Crowley is expected to be announced as new Italy head coach tomorrow in a press conference. I'm shocked.
There it is.
Wow.
There it is. Someone else
Who'd have
has said it.
thought?
There you go. Someone else has
There
said
we
it. That's great. That's what
Me
we
out
need.
of court. Me out of the dock.
Yeah, hint, hint, commenters. That's how you get this stuff, right? Mike Brown, we did give a bit of a. Mike Brown got his ban.
Falling
Got a lot of bakes. Prediction: Sharks will beat the Stormers 40 to love.
Nice bit of tennis wordplay there. Well done, DVB.
I think DVB, you're in. We like your stuff. We like your form. Well done. Well played. Did you see what's going on in the Trans-Tasman comp? There's a concussion trial.
Yes.
They're trialing an eye tracking technology. So this is one of the things. There's no guarantees in life, folks. They've tried blood tests, saliva tests. They've tried the wee GPS things that aren't on the back of the jersey, but they're little accelerometers on the side of the head. There's no foolproof way of diagnosing the concussion stuff yet, but they're trying something else. They're calling it a shadow trial of an eye tracking technology. Look up the details. There's plenty of press releases out there, but the more data we can collect about this stuff, the better. Oh, eye tracking tech and trial in Pro 14 already ahead of the game. If you want to jump in here, producer Adam, you can jump. If you don't, that's okay too. We might come back to that next week. That's my news and notes. If you've got anything else, Rodri Jenkins, question for Sean. What did you think of Nicky Smith's performance?
Excellent. Always rated Nicky Smith. Saw him come through as a youngster. And I think I said in commentary, he's got added value around the field. So he's got a great step. So he beats the first defender close quarters, which is great. And he put in some great jackals and turnovers on the weekend. He looks as if he lost a bit of weight, Rodri.
He does, doesn't he?
He
looks smaller.
Looks nice and lean, but he won a couple of scrum penalties as well. Poor old Leon Brown had a torrid time. Give away a lot of penalties, but Nicky's a quality player. He always has been. It's just about consistency for him and his mindset, and it looks like he's got the bit between the teeth.
Harley Worthy, Rodney Parade is getting a new 3G hybrid pitch.
Good. I think
It'll suit them too. The way they
tomorrow, Newport County are playing in the playoffs of the that's a national conference. Harley will tell me, he's a font of all knowledge, to be fair to him. And it straight after the final whistle on Sunday, posts were ripped up, mowers were on, rollers. So they're working really hard there to maintain it, because Newport County play football there. If there was Welsh Premiership Rugby, Newport RFC be playing there, and the Dragons. So get a hammer in, and the water table at Rodney Parade, right by the river. You notice from the past it's been flooded, so they have an issue with the water table. It's very wet at times, but it's been great. It was great on Sunday.
The water table is kind of higher than the pitch at times. It's a problem.
It's like the old Cardiff. You could grow rice on the old Cardiff Blues pitch. It's ridiculous.
Charlie Hunt, evening, gents. Ben Thomas for a Welsh appearance in the summer.
Could do. I'd like to see Kieran Williams in there. In the centres. If we're having a young centre. If there's a young centre going, I want it to be Kieran Williams.
It'll go on philosophy though, mate. And I think if a Pivac, Stephen Jones type player, Ben Thomas might be.
Yeah, true enough.
Jared, YNWA, thought Leinster players looked emotionally exhausted last Friday. They didn't look at their peak. Say that.
No.
There was a lot of yap in that game as well. It's really weird. At the end of the game, the referee had to tell a couple of players to shut up, and that's not great.
Can we not be hypocritical and start worrying about Leinster players? I mean, come on. Oh, they look tired. They look exhausted. Really? Come on. We've loaded them up on the depth of their squad, their rotation, the international players.
Sean, it's really tough winning so many games.
Well,
just
that's what I mean. Come on,
carrying around all that silverware around your neck.
It's really hard. They actually
Yeah.
each one of them.
Strong
It's like
neck.
do you not know that one of the law trials during this competition, it's kind of a play on handicaps in the horse racing. So Leinster are about to wear a load of lead in their shorts. It's really interesting. You should read about it. Did you hear them bleating about the North versus South final on Friday when they were out of contention? I did not, producer Adam. I didn't hear a thing.
Didn't hear a word.
No, didn't hear a thing. My ears are very funny at times. Very funny. I think we'll probably leave it there. Prayers up for Leinster fans, says producer Adam. He's from Dublin.
God. He's from Dublin, just to clarify.
Yeah, I want to end on this from Harley Worthy. If Toulouse don't put Colby at 10 for the final, they don't deserve to win.
Yeah, can you imagine?
I can get behind that.
I can too. It won't happen unless something weird goes wrong. But that would be amazing.
It's going to be fun. Look, that's a wrap, folks.
Always an option.
Thank you, Paul Williams. Thank you, Sean Holley. Thank you, Adam Redmond, pulling the strings. And thank you to all of you, and especially all the new people we've had in the comments, especially a few from South Africa. If it's your first time listening and your first time watching, I hope you've enjoyed it. This is kind of what we do. It's a little loose, but we love what you all bring to the show as well. So thanks all of you for giving us some of your time. That was Under the Six, brought to you by Pro 14 Rugby. My name is Andy McGeady. Thanks for listening and watching. We'll talk to you soon.
They call me cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. Ooh, cheetah, cheetah, cheetah. I love my cheetah.